Welcome back, everybody. Let's have a look at some of these coins since we've had a bit of a drop then, shall we? What's going on? Where's it going to go? Is it going to pick up? What the hell's happening? Right, so we made a video earlier, I made a video earlier where basically we were saying and Bitcoin was within this channel. It was currently being respected on the center of the channel being this pitchfork that we've had in there for quite a while now, a few weeks now. So what's happened is that we've come back down to test the second part below the center point of the pitchfork, which it's not such a bad thing, you know. I mean, this is the pitchfork that we've been in this whole time. We've not broken out of this upwards trending formation. We've come down to test what would be the first leg down from the center of it, but it's not the bottom end, which isn't. Yeah, that's no big problem, because look at where we were launching from back here. We made our way up to the top and all the way back down to the bottom. So, I mean, in all fairness, it's not as big of a drop as we've already had, considering the trend that we're in. What would be a problem is if we were to break down beneath this trend here. So if we took out areas such as 9,575, or we call it 9,600 as of tomorrow, then yeah, it would start to look a little bit like a problem at that point. But for the moment, it's not really a problem. It's still within the central part of the pitchfork, which should get brought back up and float our way back up to at least the top of the green. We could get rejected from the center on our first pass, but over the coming weeks, I would expect we'll be continuing within the center of this trend. Even if we broke down to reach the bottom of here, which would be 9,600 or so, there's still a very good chance that we'll bounce from there. In fact, it's very likely that we would bounce from there. We're not going to break down and break out of this formation. We're being brought back into the range anyway now. It looks like we're going to close our candle body either on it or just above it. If we did close below it, then I would expect a retest of the bottom level of this, so we're talking 9,600. But breaking down beneath there would be horrendous. It would be very, very bearish, but I don't think that's going to happen. I think we'll either find ourselves a bounce from here, or we'll take the next leg down to 9,600 and then bounce from there. But we're still within the pitchfork tool, we're still within the center of it as well, so it's still a healthy consolidation point for Bitcoin. RSI has come nicely down here, which is great. So realistically, what I'd like to see at this point would be some sideways action over the weekend, allowing the RSI to continue down and get ready for that nice big push, which will be the big move that we're all waiting for. That big move is really what we're looking for. That big move would be up into the 11,000s. So this is all fine. It's all part of the package. The package being the big bull move that we're all waiting for Bitcoin and for the rest of the alts. That would be. Interestingly enough, after this pullback, a lot of the alts were completely annihilated. They're all making their bounces, but the Bitcoin dominance has gone up over 1%, over 1%. It's still horrendous, it's still really bad, but it's actually bouncing from here. Again, this suggests to me that Bitcoin is getting ready for its big push, and the alts will rally with Bitcoin on this next big push, but it might begin to signify the end of this, or the drawing to a close, should I say, of the alt season, and dominance will start to be picked back up again. I mean, this is a sharp, dramatic drop, and this is the first time we've had a decent bounce from this, so it's looking like it's ready in a way to start picking back up again. XRP then, one of the biggest drops we've seen, but that's fine because I'm still bullish on XRP overall. Again, when we look at this trend, we'll go back to a weekly because it's been consolidated for 2 years. A consolidation period over 2 years has taken place, so we've broken out of this week. So long as we close above this descending trend, which would be anywhere above, we'll call it 29 to be safe. We want to have a candle body close on the weekly above 29 cents, and I'll be pretty bullish from that point forward. I'm pretty bullish already. This rejection though has been horrendous. It's been a really big rejection point, but don't worry about it. We're still bullish on this one overall. When we look at this, what did we see? We came down to test, and this is where most of these alts have been testing, the 10 simple moving average. This is where we found our bounce from. We came all the way down to there and bounced from there. You'll find this with most crypto when they've gone super bullish. When they do finally break down, or you're looking for an entry point, it's usually going to be the 10 simple. The 10 simple often has a relative amount of a relative degree of accuracy when it comes to its first pass. So that's what happened here. Bounced exactly on the 10 simple on the daily, and we've I think that's about a 5% move by the looks of things. 5 or 6% move, yeah, 5.5% move we found there from that bounce already, so it's fine. I mean, it rallied up all this way as a result of breaking out of this descending trend. We hit a resistance which was a clear resistance from the first and second attempt. Third attempt we overshot it, and we come back down. We will come back up, don't worry about that. And to be honest with you, I've bought back on this one already, so I bought back just pretty much where we are right now, so I am actually holding a trade of just under 31, so you know, I'm quite happy with that. It's a 3x leveraged trade, so I'm fine with that one, and I'll hold that until we break above the 34. You know, personally my stop loss would be beneath the descending trend, so my stop loss is around about actually I'm gonna have to change that. It was 28, so I'm going to change that to because this is moving down every day, so I'll probably change that to about 26. I don't think we're going to come back down there, to be honest with you, but I'll change it. So I do have a stop loss, but it's very, very loose. Litecoin, kind of doing the same in a way, but it's broken down beneath the 10 simple, so a little bit more scary and bearish than XRP, but again, you know, RSI is coming back down. It looks like we're going to get a cross on the MACD. Let's have a look at XRP's MACD. Very bullish still. Litecoin's not so bullish, so Litecoin doesn't look so great. Ethereum, very, very, very bullish indeed. So the RSI is still way in overbought territory, so wants to come back down still as far as the RSI is concerned, but this is an extremely bullish chart, so it didn't even come down to test a moving average. It came down to pretty much test the previous day's low, and it didn't even get that far, so very, very bullish indeed. And pretty much the video I made earlier, I did say that everything's looking to have a bit of a pullback, and my targets have pretty much been met. I said anywhere between 260 to 265. I'd be very surprised to see it come down to test the 10 simple, or even the 9 EMA, which is this grey one that we see here. So this just shows extreme strength on Ethereum. So yeah, very strong, very strong. If it does come down though, take another leg down, it would want to come down to test the 10 simple, I'd imagine, which currently is $243. But you know, that remains to be seen. Matic completely fell off a cliff. Again, this is one of those charts which I don't like the look of. So we have now got our MACD cross on the daily. Where have we bounced from? The 100 simple. It's not a great chart. We can't really look at this. It's not a good chart at all. It's not a good formation. It's messy. It's lower highs and lower lows now forming on the daily. So it's a mess. It's a real mess. I wouldn't want to trade this one. I don't like it. And finally we just move on to one, and one has taken a bit of a dive too, overshot the mark there, so back down beneath quite a few moving averages, the 9s EMA, the 10 simple, the 100 moving average. So it's looking like it wants to stay above the magic number of 620. So that was the resistance that we wanted to break out of, and it's the area that we've been trying to stay above this entire time. And so long as we stay above 620, everything's going to be okay for this guy. I wouldn't worry too much about it. In fact, I wouldn't worry at all. But if we break down beneath 620 and close beneath 620, it might not look so good overall. But MACD looks like it wants to form a cross, but it's not formed at all yet, so let's not worry about that. The cross hasn't taken place, and realistically, you know, we've still got quite a way to go if it decides it wants to go bullish. The RSI is back into a nice little area where it could decide to pick up again, but that was a sharp drop we had there. Let's measure that one out from top to bottom. There's almost a 13% move from bottom to top. So yeah, that in itself, it doesn't look good, and the fact that it's overstepped these moving averages on the daily, none of that looks very good for it. In all fairness, I think the overall winner, similar to pretty much the winner of the last few weeks, is Ethereum. Ethereum has shown strength on the pullback. It's shown strength moving up. It's just strong in general, and XRP is probably the one that I'll be looking to buy the most of at this level, because it looks like the one that wants to move up the most overall in the coming weeks and months. Anyway, I'll leave it with you there. It's just a quick recap considering we broke down a little bit. So the trick is not to worry. The trick is to look at Bitcoin and see what Bitcoin's doing, because Bitcoin dictated this move and alts have suffered, and Bitcoin's come out on top with the dominance creeping up a little bit. So it's all in Bitcoin's favour, and it kind of goes into what I was saying in my last video, that eventually all these profits, all this money from alts will find its way into Bitcoin, because Bitcoin's the one which will show the most promise in the end. Excluding a few, obviously like Ethereum and whatnot, but generally speaking, the overall winner of the day has been Bitcoin, despite this pullback. It's the easiest one to chart, and we can sense what's going to take place with the rest of these alts when looking at Bitcoin, because we've got a nice channel mapped out for ourselves. So it's not the end of the world. It's definitely not the end of the world at all. In fact, it's relatively a reasonably predictable move, and it was nice to see that it came down to this first level and stopped, and is now looking like it wants to close its candle in this level. Like I say, so long as we don't break out beneath this blue trend line that we've got here on this pitchfork, everything's okay. The idea of a pitchfork is to show that we have a trend, and we can predict to a degree of certainty where those supports and resistances are going to go within this trend. So it's nice to see that it's still holding up okay for us, and I do like a pitchfork when it works, and this one's not the neatest pitchfork, but it's working. It's definitely working, so we've got the edge here. And we'll just have to see how this plays out over the next couple of days. If we take another leg down, as long as we're still within the blue, that's fine. But I would be surprised if we did come down to test this. In fact, I think it's not unlikely at all. It's quite likely that we will take the next leg down, but then coming back up from there, we'll find our way to a nice big bounce, and that's probably getting closer and closer to where we break out of the pitchfork. But we could, realistically, we could remain within this pitchfork for a bit longer, because my overall targets are to break into the 11,000s area. The top of the pitchfork, when it gets to 11,000, would only be on the 20th, so that's only 5 days time from now to get to 11,000. So actually, remaining within this pitchfork for 5 days and finding our way to 11,000, it's pretty realistic. So the pitchfork might stay like this for a little while longer. It's only when we do an enormous move, an overshoot, where we would go completely bullish and break, or extremely bearish and break down. Anyway, I'll leave it with you there. It's just a real quick video. I hope that was of some use to you, and have a nice evening. Take it easy.